Let's do it again. Oh, great. So we know recording has started. So thank you, Letu, for that. And this is for the benefit of the students that will watch the recording. So the first question is, when are we writing the exams? You should get your exam timetable. I don't like giving out exam dates, times, venues, because in the event that it changes, you will blame me, right? But before the recording could start, I showed it to you when and where it is, right? It's a 2-hour paper. And also what we had noticed was that the high bond account is still available. So I'm going to ask ma'am if it's okay to collect a certification at the examination, right? So that you've got a CPE credit towards your qualification. I'm so glad that some of you have received the certification. And please use that in your CV, right? So that's point number one. Point number two, we mentioned your test. I apologize on behalf of the ITSS department. That's the issue when you have MCQ cards. My other test for my students, I actually marked it by hand because it was only 10 MCQs. You guys had 60. So please bear with me. I promise y'all will pass, right? I looked at the other section, it was okay. So hopefully by next week, I promise you, I've actually sent an email. Let me show you. You may think that you don't believe me. I've sent an email to Temba and she said, are you still on leave? I said, right? She's got an automatic reply, right? No, not that one. Yeah, can I come? No, not June, but I did send it, right? Prudence, she's not available. I think she's not well. Good morning. Hey, Sydney, welcome. Lovely to see you. Right? How are you doing, Sydney? Okay, so, right? So that one. Now, in terms of curriculum, I'm always very skeptical to give you a breakdown and tell you this is what's coming out. In fact, there was a meeting last week and they asked about giving scope of exams to students. And it was decided that we should not be giving out a scope as such, right? Meaning chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3 is coming out. This is not coming out. Because in the event that the exam paper, when I say written by two groups of students, Pietermaritzburg and Durban, not that we'll have a problem, and Durban students get to have a certain scope and the other Pietermaritzburg students don't get the scope or something like that, then there's issues. It also covers me as a lecturer, right? I'll tell you, this is the syllabus, this is what we're covering, and you know, you can't hold a gun to my head and say, hey, sir, but you told me this is coming out, this is not coming out, right? Now, IT5B, it is based on IT5A as well. So IT5A and 5B combined, you'll get a pass mark for information technology 5, right? It's one of the modules in the postgraduate diploma. And this is the curriculum that we aligned ourselves to, right? The University of Cape Town, that's the curriculum. I'm so happy that I did that, Enterprise Systems for Africa. And if you noticed, where's this curriculum? Our curriculum, S4HANA. There's a curriculum for S4HANA, right? And we did business processes in the first term. Enterprise systems, that's our curriculum. We did S4HANA navigation. First semester, I did some practical work with you. My IT technicians were Letu and Sydney. Remember the user, y'all were able to log in. We did some procure to pay. We did accounting concepts, sales order processing, inventory management, accounting, production, and we used the Zambikes case study, right? So the Zambikes case study. Now, for the examination in the essay type questions, I must write that down, Zambikes, right? So Zambikes is our case study, the ESEFA syllabus. ESEFA syllabus. The Zambikes was our case study. So I can take work from all this, all of this, right? Let me just do a screenshot of that. Mm. Right. So if I had to give you a breakdown of the paper, what we dealt with, this was our syllabus. Right? Oopsie. I tell my wife, I'm in a class. So if you want to know what our syllabus is, that's our syllabus, right? The other thing is the module descriptor that helps us and tells us what we need to study. Module descriptor. Let's find that module descriptor. Right, so there's our module descriptor here. So the module descriptor is what had been given to the, when I call it Center for Higher Education, and they decided with the DUT that this is what I need to teach you, right? And I need to teach you about the postgraduate diploma, internal auditing, tax, same thing. Human capital management, enterprise asset management, cost accounting, when using an ERP system, real world examples and a case study. So my case study is Zambikes. What are the putting theory into practice using an ERP software tool? And the ERP software tool we use was SAP S/4HANA. The module will provide you with business skills, accounting for internal auditing, tax students. What are some of the theoretical knowledge? So hopefully I've covered this. The module content is about human capital management. Now, if you've noticed in both the tests, I asked you all about human resources or human capital management system. We spoke about recruitment, personnel development. If you look at my questions in the exam, I had to have some questions on this. Enterprise asset management, cost accounting. Now, in terms of teaching, the one thing that I know I didn't do with your guys was collaborative learning and cooperative learning or problem-based. When I say problem-based, I gave you a scenario and you have to work on that. So that was the example that I did with you for the website, right? Sia, I met him on Thursday at a training and he said, sir, this website is coming up pretty nice. We got to meet. I'll show it to you. But Sia, are you here? Nope. He hasn't showed me that, right? So if you work in a group, 5, 6 people, then I know I've covered collaborative learning with you, right? That's a soft skill that they spoke about at a meeting, where students don't work in teams, groups. And in the real world, nobody's an individual. We work together. So I'm supposed to have 40% practical, 35% theory. This is just a guide and independent study, which I think you have done, right? And right, so that's the module descriptor that helps me. So if I looked at what I need to test you on, is this human capital management, enterprise systems, and cost management accounting. So let's just copy that so you'll see that. Right, I'm going to post that into. See, I just spoke about you. You must share your right. Right, I must share that with you. So that's our module content. And I think I covered it. right? And I even tested you on it. So what I didn't do in detail was teaching and learning where collaborative learning, right? So that's what I need to cover with you guys. Okay, so that we'll cover in our, hopefully we did it with the certification for high bond account and diligent software, right? Let's just check that high bond account works. So basically I'm doing a recap and I'm summarizing what we covered, and hopefully you can say tick off, a yes, we did it. Right, so this was part of the collaborative learning, the certification. So, well, I didn't complete it. I just did 2/3 of it, 66 odd percent. But maybe later if you can log in on my system and you can show that. And this is towards your CPE credits. Right, so I'd expect you all to have done something like this. All right, so this was also what we covered. I'll post that into our WhatsApp group. I took out disappearing messages a little from here. It won't disappear, huh? Yeah. Just double check that it mustn't disappear, because people will read it after. Oh, okay. Right. 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 So let's just. Right. So that's what we covered, and I hope you guys did the basics of analytics. Hey, I completed that course. Oh, okay. Right. Basics of analytics. Can you say I only did 36? Later, would you mind logging in and yeah, you use my laptop. Yeah. So let's just open up another. So you can show us what you've done. Thank you, Letu. The letter you can log in. Now, the license expired 30th of September. But if it's available to us, why not use it? Right? I went to our medical doctor and he was telling me that he has to do CPE credits because as a medical doctor, there's advancements and changes in medicine and procedures, medication. So he had to study and he showed us his book. Oh, thank you. There we go. So Letu is, and Letu, can you show us your certifications that you obtained?
Yes, so going there now.
And Letu, you want to attempt the exam? We'll ask Prof. Olo if she can pay for your, because the other day I asked her to pay for external examiner. She said, okay, not me, she brought, she sent it to faculty. There we go. So Letu's on the exam, basics of analytics. And he's completed 5. Do a screenshot of that, please, Letu. Wow. Letu has completed 5. Even scripting in analytics.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. I want a screenshot of that, Letu. Use slipping tools because I'm gonna share this.
How do I use this one? How do I use it?
Slipping that. Put it at the bottom of my screen. Yeah. There's slipping tool there. Right. Let's just save that for me. Desktop. So click on new. and it becomes a little cross. You want to click there, right? So well done. So just save that. Click on the save button at the top there, the flippy disk. Let you just make a folder on the desktop for you. New folder. Up. Yeah, you did. Right? New folder. Click on new folder. And just type on the top. Click new folder.
Your folder.
Yeah. Let you LETHU. Good morning. Enter. Open it. Save it. Right. So LearTu has, by the way, this is independent learning. You saw my module script after you are independent learning. This is what you did, right? Hopefully, let's just minimize that screen slipping too. Can we see the scripting and analytics that you've done, LearTu?
Yes.
Let's view the course. Right. So LearTu did this. Would you be able to recommend this course? Yes, no, you can do that at your leisure, right? So LearTu, lower. Right. Let's go to the other course, LearTu. LearTu did, you did quite a bit. Did you do that exam? Are you going to attempt it, LearTu?
I was thinking of something exam.
Let's click on continue. The CPE exam. You're about to begin the CPE exam. Oh, must be within 1 hour. Oh my God. I need a score of 15 multiple choice questions. The questions are based on covered in the. Right. LearTu. LearTu, why not try it, LearTu? Not now.
Not
First
now.
do that.
But I will, but not now.
Right. Please, I've got nothing to lose. Right. Okay. Let's make us take a screenshot of that, please, don't you, and put it into your new. Thank you, Rachel. Save that. Perfect. Right. So later is going to do that exam. Let's not start this later.
Okay.
Go back. Let's see the other certifications that later can do. He's completed scripting in analytics, applying filters and creating computer fields in analytics, basics of analytics. Don't worry about how to use this course. That's simple. And that one is simple, right? Let's go and have a look at applying filters and creating computer analytics. Right. So I'm going to change the module description next year or when they get the license for the software that the students can use this. So LearTu have done all of that. I am teaching basics of analytics. I told you at IoT data science. Okay, now you are postgraduate students. I know you're not studying just for the purpose of passing the exam. You want to improve your qualifications. You want to make your CV pretty large, long, lots of certificates. This is where you can do it. Can you just show us where you get your certificate, please, later? Because I want a copy of that. Oh, let's look at that. Ah, look at that. Check it out. Check it out. This is a database. Yay. Right. A little bit higher later. Let's view that video for 5 minutes. Are you able to hear that on MS Teams? And just pause for 1 second and just check if the settings in Teams are available in Teams. Go to Teams and go to settings. Because it won't record all of this. Teams. Second screen. Yeah, go to settings on the top there, please. More. And share sound right on the top, right above more. Wait, it popped up just now. Click somewhere outside of that, please. Don't stop recording. Video and audio, click on audio. Go right to the top, please, Legend. It showed you. Click. Share sound. Somewhere I saw share sound.
Share sound.
Click right on the top of the title bar. One above it. There we go. There we go. Share sound. Right. Perfect. Continue a little on the video. I think it's the other one. That's mine.
Oh, okay.
Right on the bottom. Next one. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, okay.
Little lower. Yes. Go ahead. Just play.
Employee master table, which is in my payroll analysis folder. So I'm going to click on the plus sign beside the payroll analysis folder to open it up. And I can see there's my employee master table. So I'm going to double click on the employee master table. Now it's opened. And you can see down at the bottom there's a records count of 42, meaning that in my employee master table there's a total of 42 records. If we scroll down, we can see there's the 42 records. I'm just going to scroll back up. If I wanted to see which employees were hired after January 1st, 2000, I could use a quick filter. So first, I'm going to scroll over and find my date hired field. There it is. And then I'm going to click on any value in my date hired field so that it becomes highlighted. And then right-click on that same value, hover over quick filter, and then click on after. And you can see up in my filter box that ACL Analytics has built a quick filter based on the value that I selected. And the table has now been filtered to only display the records where the value in the date hired field is greater than November 29th, 1996. I can adjust this so that I can find out which employees were hired after January 1st, 2000. So I'm going to go up into my filter box. And I'm going to delete this date and replace it with 2000-0101. And now I can apply the filter by either hitting the Enter key on my keyboard or by clicking the Set Filter button here. And you can see ACL Analytics just applied my filter. And down on the bottom, you can see there's a question mark for how many records there are. If I want to know exactly how many records fit this description where the hire date was after January 1st, 2000, I can go up here to this abacus, which is count, and just click. And click OK. And it tells me now that there are 30 records of the 42. So 30 records meet the filter criteria that the hire date was after January 1st, 2000. And that's how you build a quick filter.
If you notice, there was an if statement. If
I now wanted to see only the male employees who were hired after January 1st, 2000, I can build another quick filter using a value from the sex field. So I can scroll over to the sex field and click on any value so that it becomes highlighted. And then right-click on that same value, hover over Quick Filter and select and select and because I want the filter to apply the hire date is greater than January 1st, 2001, and also that the sex is male. And I'm going to click equal. And I'm going to go back up to my abacus and click OK.
Here's my if statement.
And you can see now that ACL Analytics has told me that there are 15 records that fit this criteria where hire date is greater than January 1st, 2001 and
That's
sex
a Boolean
equals male.
variable. Boolean statements and or not. Boolean
So this
algebra.
tells me that there are
That's
15 male
programming.
employees that were hired after January 1st, 2000. You can see up in the filter box that we have a more complex filter now that takes into account hire date is greater than January 1st, 2001 and sex equals male. If I now wanted to know which male hired after January 1st, 2001 had the highest salary, I could scroll over to my salary field, right-click on my salary field name up at the top, and select either Quick Sort Ascending or Descending. For my purposes, I'm going to select Quick Sort Descending, so I'll click on that. And you can see now that the records have been sorted based on salary in descending order. So now the first record up at the top, which is record number 4, has a salary of $41,250. So he is the high. So if we scroll over to see who that is, we can see that Poilin Breitnack is the highest paid male who was hired after January 1st, 2000. And that's how you use Quick Sort and Quick Filter.
Wow, thank you, Liz. Here we go. Remember I told you one of my outcomes for this course was human capital services. And I tied this in with IT, information technology. And the program we used was Audit Command Language, ACL. All of you should have had access to it because the license was available to us right until the 30th of September. But I think they forgot about us in the little run. Okay, so please, it's for your benefit. You are postgraduate students. You are working not just for passing the exam. You want to go and do masters next year. That's what I love. 63 people, 63 master students, right? And I'd love it if I could supervise somebody as well, right? I don't know whether they're allowed, but we'll see how it is. No, it's not. Don't even say it's not possible, right? No buts, no buts, no buts, no buts. I hear you. I hear you. Let's pray. Let's see how it goes, right? We got October, November, December, January, February. You start working on that, right? Let's see. You never know what will happen in a couple of months' time. Whether they can probably get supervisors from another faculty or management sciences. Yes. 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 You know, I have to tell you this. They had graduation a couple of months ago. Not a month, last month, September. And management sciences. Go and look at the video on the graduation. Front row, so many red gowns. Red gowns means PhD, right? Now, to get to PhD, you got to have done masters. Our faculty, there were a few handful, but under 5 or 6, 4 or 5 people PhD. That means nobody filtered in from masters. Even the masters, there were a few students, right? One of them was my colleague, started working together. So don't say not possible. Don't say no supervisors. That means just giving me excuses. I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. But if they, no, I won't say but. Prof. Olive Stumke was on record. Remember we did orientation? I'll find that video as well. She seems to be head of department that wants to push research. And how you push research is if you get masters and PhD students, right? So Sydney, I'd love it next year. Start working on a proposal now. That's the whole purpose of me doing systematic review. I had Dr. Kunle and I had Dr. Musin, and they spoke about systematic review. And I'll show you AI tools that will help you to create a proposal to go do literature reviews. It's not good, not out of your reach, you know. Yesterday, my student Taban, I have to tell you this. He graduated, not graduated, he completed his PhD, and called me up. Sir, I sent you a message, but on the WhatsApp it says waiting for the message download. I don't know why it was doing that. Anyway, he called me. He spoke so long to me. He completed his PhD. I said, "Why didn't you do it with DUT?" Because 2 years ago we were talking about it. He says, "No, man, got a bursary through SADC, some SADC regions or countries or whatever, and now he's doing." And I'm not lying, Tabani, there's my student Tabani. You can phone him. I'll phone him now if you want. I'll tell you, Tabani graduated, right? So don't come with excuses that you can't do it. No. Let me tell you about Tabani's story, right? Let me see if I got Tabani. Tabani, right. Tabani graduated last year with a call. Let's see if he answers my call. Right. Tabani, right? I mean, Tabani was, would also like you excuses this, that, and everything. Now he's a PhD.
Study. Yeah, they.
No, he's studying. Right. I'll tell you. I'm sorry.
There's some steps.
Course of like master certification or the one and who you're often like
Okay, I'll tell you now. Right? Let me see if I can get all of Tabani now. Let me. No, I'm getting you. Tabani, I'm telling you to. I'll talk to you. He's my student, my first student that graduated at master.
That's
Right? I really tell you. I'm not the one. It's more no use me lecturing and preaching to you about masters. I'll get Tabani to do a little video. In fact, I told him to send me his PhD topic and all of that. You can find out, right? He didn't come for graduation 2 years ago because Van Joburg lose that story. But my other student was not. Also, excuses galore. Ida can't do the masters. Like what's the news coming up with? Don't have this, don't have that, and what have you. The student did it 2 years with the head of department, was taking too long. It's not easy. If it was easy, everybody would get mastered, everybody would get PhD. Right? I hear you, I tell you. But make a start, make an effort. The whole purpose of the postgraduate diploma, in my view, is for you to do postgraduate studies. Right? Otherwise, we should have just done short courses, certificates, or something like that. Go CA, I feel that's why you started your postgraduate diploma, to get into the master's program and to the PhD program. Right. So Sydney, don't tell me no supervisor, no funding, this, that, all of it. Everything you tell me, I can give you. And there are 2 students. I don't have lots of experience in supervision, but I've got 2 students. I got 1 student that registers, doesn't do anything. We won't talk about that. But you start. And you know why I wanted to speak to Tabani? Tabani's thing was, as soon as he finished his master's, didn't even graduate, they just PhD. So why I'm telling you this, you all are almost finishing your postgraduate studies. Don't say I'm going to take a break and everything. Start with your master's next year. Start. No. Don't give me that, right?
We are coming for the master.
Yes, very good, Leif.
And we hope the department gets supervisors.
I hear you, and if they can't, you go to, I'll give you Tabani's number. Tabani's number. Tabani couldn't, was having issues, so he went to, SADC meeting. Right?
Because even now, you don't have a check on that.
I hear you, you don't have a supervisor, I hear you. That you start out with the department, right? Dr. Modley, Asogan Modley? Quickly, get a hold of him because he's in the department.
Yeah,
See if you can,
but he's overwhelmed.
he is overwhelmed.
Postgrad, advanced, PhD, masters.
Yeah,
It's not a lot.
yeah,
Please don't forget the.
right. Okay, I haven't got that, sorry. So the question is, what's the difference between coursework masters and full dissertation masters, right? So in coursework masters, what happens is the student will attend a lecture once a month, twice a month, and they will have to have journals published of book chapters, right? And they will have to do maybe some assessments towards it. And they have a mini dissertation. So whereas my dissertation thesis was 300 pages, because it was full dissertation, they would have a 100-page dissertation, right? Or dissertation thesis. For me, I still get one is for masters, one is for PhD. Anyway, that's the coursework. So you will attend some lectures, you will do some assessments, and you'll have a mini dissertation of 100 pages, 120 or so, right? Now, for students that are not disciplined, that don't attend lectures, that have issues with family commitments, work commitments, all of that, and they need someone to guide them and push them and force them into doing something, it's nice thing to go with the coursework masters. But if a student is independent enough to work on their own, and they feel like Tabani, typical example, Tabani, my student, right? He was an independent learner, was mature, family man. His wife is also in academia, so they both, and I say, she understands when he has to go for studies or his assessments or whatever he has to do. Not like, the one spouse is, oh, you keep on studying all the time, maybe like that. So he was independent then, he was able to do it. And his was full thesis, full on. No coursework, nothing he had to do, no journal articles or whatever. But now that he did his PhD, yes, it was full dissertation, but he also has to publish an article, right? So I could say it's full with an article. In fact, I also had to do that. That's also part of the postgrad master's. And why they do this for? Right? When they publish an article, DHET gives you subsidy towards it. It goes to the university, not to you directly in the same, right? So that's one of the reasons. And it's also nice. You have an article published from your dissertation. Yes. If you can even do master's or a PhD by publishing journal articles. 5, 6, 7, I don't know what the things were. Okay. But most importantly, you must have the grit, the willpower. I want to continue with my postgrad studies. That's most important. And somehow or the other, you'll find a way. I was watching a Netflix movie the other day, and what was it? Nobody likes this or nobody wants this or something like that. And this priest, this rabbi, gave a nice sermon. So the guy, I'll give you a quick story, right? I'll tell you. I'm sorry to digress, but I found that a nice story. I must tell people, very often we pray to God and we say, God, please help us to get our master's study, or please pray to us to do something. So there was this guy, there was a flood, and he was on the roof of the house. Flood water was rising. So he's praying to God, please help me, please help me. Oh, so the lifeboat that came along, said, no, God's going to help me, God's going to help me. The lifeboat went to it. No, I'm okay. And there were some other people that came to help him, and even there was a helicopter that came to rescue him. And he says, no, God's going to help me. Anyway, he drowns and he goes to heaven. So he says, dear God, I prayed to you. I prayed again when you said I needed help to survive this flood or the storm. He said, yes, I sent a lifeboat for you. You didn't go into the lifeboat. I sent other people to help you. You didn't. I sent a helicopter to take you up. You didn't. So the moral of the story is on the take back away from that is Sydney. You want to study, right? You've reached a milestone in your life. You've got your PA, your postgraduate. Something else will come up next year. You never know, right? There may be a new staff member, there may be something. Take the opportunity. That's your lifeboat. There's your lifeboat here. You're getting your postgraduate diploma, right? There will be 2 or 3 of you that may not get your postgraduate this year. You have to do it. Right? There's your lifeboat. There's the other person that's coming with the helicopter to help you. Right? Dr. Asogan Modley. So I'm giving you these answers, giving you the assistance. Right? If that doesn't work, go to Faculty of Management Sciences. They have, right, I can introduce you to people out there. And start it. You work on your own. You get your, I started with your systematic review. That's the whole purpose of me doing that. Right? So don't lose that opportunity. That's what I'm saying. Not married, yeah. No kids to worry about. Right, so study. Study.
So I'm going to have kids, family.
Yeah, you have kids, family. I'm talking about as adults for post-study. It's tough. It's tough. When I was a student and I had to write an exam, 4 exams in 5 days, only Wednesday was free. I passed all 4. 1999, I got married. I was finishing up. I wrote 2 papers in UNISA. I passed one, I failed one. Literally, right? My degree at 98. Why? Get married, pick up household, all of that, little that, right? Then kids come along. So do it now while you can, when you have the opportunity. Don't wait for something else to come. Here, married, right? And and how tough is it that you have to divide your time? Sydney.
Work.
See, now, yeah, and she's attained the postgraduates, and you're going to go for master's next year, right? Here we go. See, I like that. Yeah, I'm going to go. And Sydney's making excuses.
No, I'm not making any excuses.
No. Don't put it out to the universe that you're going to do it. Another one talking about coursework, masters, it'll come. All else fails, I can co-supervise somebody, even though I'm looking for students. Okay, Sydney. So next question. Thank you.
So recap on the system. Please refresh on how the system to the systematic.
Okay, but let's talk about that systematic review. Now, the systematic review, why I did that was to get you prepped for next year, right? I don't know whether you'd be able to do it or not, but I gave an example with the abstract. So we also have a recording. Find that recording from is on the YouTube systematic review. It's on my YouTube channel. But watch that one. I had Dr. Kunle here and I had Dr. Mohsin out here. So systematic review, why I chose that for you guys is you don't have to go and get ethical clearance, do questionnaires and go and have a pilot study, this, that, or whatever. A systematic review, if I have to quickly give you a whenever I do anything, I always have something in mind. And I ask you all to find an article and to read it and to print it, right? So you don't need one article, you need a good couple, say 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 articles, right? With all of you sitting out here, there were 60 articles, correct? 60 articles that I have a file of it, right? So 60 articles. Hopefully you all read the article, right? You had some idea of what is ERP, SAP S/4HANA. Then you look through those articles and you see what is the theme that you want to, what was coming out from it, right? You are looking through it and you are doing it methodically. You would have chosen a date from 2020 to 2024. you would have the Prisma. Remember that Prisma thing he was talking about? Find systematic review. It's under channels playlist. Right. Go to IT5. So there's a methodology in it. And the reason I'm doing it, Sydney, is for next year. You need to do a literature review to have a proposal in place. I think you were talking about itself. Remember you were mentioning to me something about that?
Yeah.
Artificial intelligence, yes, right? So you have some idea. So now you start looking for articles on that. You find the articles, you look through it, you see a theme, and you see the gap in the research. Maybe they are talking about data analytics, and they're not necessarily talking about a mixed method. They're only talking quantitative analysis and qualitative analysis. And you look through those 5 years of study, and they are articles, none of them, and all confining it to Africa. Remember we did that thingy? Oh, you found it systematically.
Yes.
Right, there we go. Share that link with her. Is that Dr. Kunle in there? Just go a
Yes.
little bit forward. Postgraduates. Yeah, there's stop. Just stop. There's the
The
Prisma
sort
flow
of
chart.
research
This
or
is
the
me.
sort of
Right?
empirical
This is how
work
you
we
do
want
it.
to use,
You identify.
then we screen them and we try to find out if they are eligible, and then we try to narrow them down to what we want to include. So by identifying them, you mentioned which databases. There are a lot of databases. As Dr. Musin has mentioned, there are Scopus indexed research works, Web of Science index research works. There are
You must have done
a
it.
few other ones,
Didn't you do it?
like your Silo, etc.
Yeah.
And
Are you ready?
then meanwhile, we should also realize that with systematic review, it doesn't, or it is not always,
Yeah.
it doesn't have to always come from
But I don't
these
think you did
databases.
systematic
There are
review.
other number of sources
No.
we can also address. We can generate information from news items, for instance.
I'll get-
Those will be categorized as
Something I want to show you.
non-published academic works,
So I want
etc.
to ask you.
We can also generate research from some sort of report, maybe government
Yes,
report,
not for me, for
etc.
you, for next
For our
exercise.
systematic review,
Right?
we can generate
I don't
data
think I'll
from
have time
those.
to access
So
to you,
basically, by identifying them,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right?
we will
But I want
collect
your-
as
I'm leaving
much
at
as
you
we need for the
next
study.
year,
So
right?
if,
Let you
for
come to
instance,
Canada. I don't know
our
how you do
keywords
that.
show that we should
Right?
generate, or we have 100 papers, for instance. If it shows that there are 100 papers that have used that particular keyword or that have made reference to the kind of keywords we are trying to use for our research. In these, among these 100 papers, then we can justify and say, now these search has returned 100 papers, right? From, let's say, Scopus or Web of Science, etc. If there are other sources, maybe like your news items or government report, etc., we can say, okay, maybe they've returned 50 sources. Then we have 150 in total. That is how to use the Prisma flowchart, basically. So we have 100 papers or 100 documents that we have generated through databases. And then other sources have also returned, say, 50 papers. Now we have 150 in total. At the identification stage, we have to then see if there are duplicates, maybe we've somehow generated the same paper twice, or they've said the same thing, something like that. Then we try to remove where the duplicates are before proceeding to the screening stage. When we screen, this is where we want to see whether the keywords are the exact ones that the articles returned, or the kind of documents that have returned to us that we've searched have returned exactly the kind of articles, the kind of keywords that we input to generate these articles or this research. So in this case, it might have returned maybe after we've removed the duplicate, let's assume we have 140 articles left. At this point in time, we may still exclude some here. If it appears as if the documents we have generated, some of them do not exactly reflect what we want. If they reflect what we want, then we proceed to whether they are eligible. To check for eligibility is to check that the articles
No,
are of good quality.
Then why do you
They
have
say
postgraduates?
exactly what we are hoping to
No,
find
postgraduates.
that we will use for the systematic review. And then we proceed to the
No.
inclusion. At the end of the day,
No.
we might find out that the articles that we might include based on this flowchart may not be more than 80, for instance, because we've been able to screen out for eligibility, we've been able to screen out for a non-eligibility, etc. So that is the basic use of the Prisma flowchart. When we do systematic review, it is possible that we find a whole lot of research, in fact, as many as 1,000 papers addressed to the topic we want to address. But do we include all the 1,000 in the study? Not necessarily. It has to do with whether they are useful for the study and whether they're eligible for the study. That is when we then narrow down what is useful for us that we can include in the study.
Okay, so there's a systematic review.
Thank you.
Want to watch how to do it? We were here sitting. Dr. Kule, thank you very much. Dr. was sitting next to me and he was nodding his head about what you were talking. So let me tell you, now that you mentioned to us, we have to collect articles, and you said a big number like 1,000, and then you also mentioned a number like 80. So let me tell you what we have done. Right? I've got Letu over here, and Letu on his cell phone. Letu, pay attention. Okay. Oh, you're listening. Okay. Letu is listening on his earphones, right? So Letu, I'm going to put you on the spot now. I'm going to you to like basically tell Dr. Kunle, what article did you search for, which database you used, and what was your keyword that you had mentioned, right? So unmute, I'm going to mute myself. Dr. Kunle, let me put your camera on Letu. This is my class rep, Letu. Dr. Kunle, Dr. Musin can see him here, he's right here. So you know the question now.
Very few of you did the test, but I will look at that.
Morning, Dr. Kunle.
You now go and work with your friends. Ask them.
Good morning, Letu.
Look at
Morning,
it.
how are you?
Look for a pattern.
I'm very well,
that
thank you.
emerges. Check it
Yes,
out.
so we
See what's
on ERP
there, what's
in
not there.
human resource
And the only way you'll know it is if you
ERP
read
in supply chain management,
Letu
and also
said
ERP
300
in
articles
cost
by end of
accounting.
October. I'm
We're
holding
actually
you to that.
supposed
It's
to
on record. Huh?
present
Right.
in our class.
Then
in
you
our
will be able to write an abstract. By the way, the abstract is supposed to be written at the end.
Yeah.
I don't
Okay,
know if
I'm trying to take notes. So you say ERP,
in
human resource management.
We took someone's
ERP
article,
in
which
supply
was
chain
Prof.
management.
Raj Kumar's, Dr. Musin, that was here. We took their article and we modified it to suit our needs, right? And what we thought.
Right.
And then I'm
Then-
leading up to your proposal.
And then
A proposal is,
ERP
think of it as a
accounting.
money journal article. But that will change. That will
You're
change.
breaking
The
little.
proposal takes 6 to
ERP in
at least
accounting.
a year.
In accounting.
You may
Okay.
not do systematic review, you may decide to do
All right.
something else with that article. But I'd like it if you get in the groove of it.
I got that.
Start it, right? Because you want to do masters.
Dr. Kunle, did you get that
And we love it.
keywords?
And we so
Yes,
happy
I got
to
it.
get it.
Yes, I
Okay,
got the
so
keywords. Okay.
These were the keywords to my 60 odd students, Dr.
Oh, you missed the
Wilson.
one.
The keywords were given to my 60 students.
Called me yesterday. He's just passed his PhD.
What I want you, Dr. Kunle and Dr.
Next
Mosin,
year
is,
graduation.
so the keywords are ERP, enterprise resource planning, human capital services. That's the new buzzword.
Yes, that I
They
want
used to
to
talk
pass.
human resources.
No.
Let's just say
That also
supply
true.
management, database
Right.
management,
WordPress.
data
I spoke to you
warehousing,
about WordPress.
and that's
That
what
got
we
5,
want to
6
look
of you.
for in terms
Right.
of
Sia is gonna show
articles.
us his
Oh, one more thing, Dr.
website.
Kunle, we're
Right.
only going to look for
He's
articles,
gonna do that.
or journal articles. We're not going to use
And
government
the website
reports
is your
and
collaborative
newspaper
learning,
articles
working
or
at
conference
all
proceedings.
of that
Will that be okay,
Yeah,
Dr. Kunle, Dr. Musin?
on the group.
Yes, that would be okay.
Open up our
Remember, when you do
website,
systematic
please,
review, you plan, you have a system.
Right,
for it.
Sia.
Okay,
Sia,
so
come.
if
Go
the
to
system is to keep
WhatsApp there.
your finding limited to research articles, then
Oh,
those
yes,
are the
the
kind
money-
of
it's
criteria
minus
you
in the
draw.
message
So when you
to
do
you,
systematic
it's
review, you want to draw your criteria and you want to stick exactly to those criteria. So if one of the criteria you've drawn for your research is to basically draw from academic journals, then it is appropriate to limit yourself to those academic journals.
Okay, so Dr. Kunle, Dr. Musin was telling me that, listen, we've got 60
That's the
students.
money.
We should actually break them into
Right.
groups.
Right,
And
Right.
I'd like
I'll
that
just tell
idea
you
as well. So Dr. Musin, he has experience in this, Dr. Kunle, because he broke his students into groups.
Doc, can you please share your screen again with that Prisma chart if you don't mind?
Of course.
I just want to, I hope I haven't forgotten. There's certain things that are running through my mind.
Okay,
I
okay.
draw your attention to. So firstly, when you're doing a systematic review, and very importantly for the students,
Right.
you don't do a systematic review on your own.
Okay.
There's no, because you have to evaluate those articles.
Right.
Which means, as Doc mentioned, at the identification stage, you might even have 18,000 articles.
Ooh, that's too much.
No. Let me just
Okay.
and break it down.
Right,
Then
here we go,
you're
see
going to
here.
go through the process where you're going to remove duplicates.
Right.
And remember, you didn't just look at Web of Science and Scopus.
You
You may
did
have
this
looked at
on,
EBSCO, Science Direct, and all the different databases. And you might have found that those articles are appearing all over the place, the same
Right.
articles. So at that identification stage, as Doc mentioned, you're going to remove the duplicates. You might end up with maybe 7,000.
Right.
That's the first stage. Then at the screening stage, the reason why you do it alone, together, or maybe 3 or 4 people, and you find this quite often, is that there's 2 stages to the screening stage.
Right.
There is the abstract stage and the full text stage.
Okay.
So that, as Doc mentioned, the abstract stage, you're looking at keywords that are pertaining to the search strategy you developed that are appearing there.
Okay.
Now, you will do that individually for each article, and I will do that individually.
Okay.
Right? And then we'll do the full text separately.
Right.
We're going to screen each article.
Okay.
And then we're going to come together and we're going to decide which articles to include or exclude.
Okay.
That's where your inclusion and exclusion criteria comes about, and Doc spoke about that as well.
Yes.
Very, very importantly, therefore, a systematic review cannot be done alone. Sometimes you find supervisors doing it with their students
Okay.
because they want to find out, is this topic worth doing at master's or PhD level?
Okay.
So that's a very, very important part of that process. Then your eligibility criteria. Are these articles eligible enough for my study?
Right.
People might say, I'm looking at articles in the past 5 years.
Right.
And they position and justify themselves as to why the topic might be current, like AI.
Yes.
The acceleration of AI, although it's there from 1960, but you would found that in the past 5 years, there's been a huge acceleration
Okay.
of that topic.
But
And
you have
then
to
you'll
ask
have your
someone to
final
do it for
content
you
in your inclusion
and pay them.
stage. So very, very important.
But grouping.
You see, and the important part also is following the method step by step by step. And so there are softwares, like there's one called Rayan,
R-A?
RAYYAN, or you can use EndNote.
Write that down.
You can look at the YouTube videos on Rayan.
R-A?
It's RAYYAN. There's a,
R-A-Y-Y-A-N.
it's a,
I'm not
it-
sure, Dr. Musin. Dr. Kunle, Dr. Musin has mentioned some software, Rayon, R-A-Y-Y-O-N.
AN.
I'm just throwing in the deep end here. Are you familiar with software like that?
No, I don't know that software.
Okay, okay.
So if you go
That's
onto
good. No,
YouTube-
thank you. There we go. I love
can.
this.
You
All
can.
of us experts here.
You can go and look at that
R-A-Y-Y-O-N.
software.
Okay.
Download it. It'll show you how you can share articles. So if both of us are collaborating or 3 of us are collaborating
Yes.
on the same topic,
Yeah.
we obviously need to screen separately. We all will have our own view on the topic,
Okay,
on those articles, which to choose, which not to choose.
okay.
But before even that, your search strategy is important. I heard the search strategy. I can
You
tell
heard
you incorrectly done.
Okay.
It needs to be relooked at.
Now you've learned these new ones.
Because
Thank you.
because I'm telling you why, because if you're gonna do a systematic review, the data you get out of the database must be relevant and appropriate to your topic.
Oh, okay.
So you need to use, like, we call it Boolean
Applying
operators
filters.
or
Okay.
search operators, like your and, your ors, your nots. It will extend the search,
Using
narrow your
SAP
search,
is
it
for
broaden your
HANA.
criteria.
Right.
These are important skills to have,
Okay,
because that
fact that you have
search
to use
strategy, you can put it down
do an
into your
essay
article
or
to say,
just
this is what I
like-
use. If you click on this as the editor, you'd be
For the
able to
exams.
find these articles. So
ah,
I'm showing a very,
The other
very
day,
important part of the
they were- I
systematic
wrote down
review is
how much
transparency.
true or not.
Okay.
China
You want to
is
show
doing
transparency that
exams.
this is a topic that's,
Kind of
there is a gap here, or there is a challenge here, or
Right.
maybe there, but you want
Go
to
ahead.
show that there's transparency in every process that you use, whether it's identification, whether it's screening, etc. You want to show there's transparency in your data.
lovely. So Dr. Kunle, if I could bring you into the conversation, Dr. mentioned that we can't work alone. We got to work with other people or other students or researchers. So my strategy is that I've got 60 students.
So for those
I
of you
want
who
to
don't have a
start them on this
business
journey.
and like
I want to reach for the stars, even if I reach the treetops, basically, right? So I'm going to break them
So,
into groups. So Letu will be the group
you have
leader.
contact number
He'll
later
have
on.
5
I
other
just
students
check
with
it
him. I'm going to have Boosie is not here, but oh, there's my students. There's more students out there, right? They are going to be. They're going to have groups of 5 or I would say 6 max. So I'm going to have like 10 groups basically, sir.
Okay.
And they are going to, like you mentioned, the Boolean operators, Dr. Kunle, Dr. Musin. And so the first step is there. We're going to get our groups in order, Dr. Kunle. So if you say that we've identified what we want ERP concepts, we want human resources, we want data warehousing. Oh, that's my research question.
You haven't identified the identification is when you find the results.
Right.
Remove duplicate stuff.
Okay, so thank you, Dr. Mohsin. So feel free. I'm a novel. That's why I got the experts here, Dr. Mohsin Kunle. So if let's get into the nitty-gritty of it now. So we've got our students. My students started collecting articles. Dr. Letu, you want to share with us on screen. So Dr. Kunle, I just want is brand new to this, sir. We all brand new. We all learning here. So Letu, if you can share your article, please, on screen. Oh, okay. There's a question on the chat, Dr. Kunle. Dr.
Look at Doc's first question.
Right.
Can you see that's where you can develop the search strategy?
Oh,
System how
Pico.
to develop the search strategy.
I like this word Pico. Dr. Kunle, you mind just, it's your word there. What is Pico? P-I-C-O-C.
Yes. So, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So as you can see, basically, Peacock allows you, it makes it easy for you to make sure that you've streamlined your research questions. So what you are looking for must have at least 2 to 3 elements of these. In some cases, some of them might be, depending on the type of research, some of them might be silent on the research or they might not be entirely appropriate. But firstly, you must have a research question before you do a systematic review. The research question must have a problem of the population. Ideally, the word is population, but it confuses people when you say population because then they think you want to speak, you want to talk about people in particular. So your research, for instance, you're working on ERP, may not have to do with people particularly. If you're looking at the curriculum, that is not people, but under the understanding of population, even if you are looking at curriculum, the curriculum in that case is seen as your population. So basically, I also use the word problem to make it clearer that it doesn't have to be people in particular. It can also be just the problem you are looking at. Now, if you have been able to ascertain the population of the problem, which in this case, I assume it is ERP, okay, then we go further now to try to see what your interventions are, or your interests, if you like. Now, what is your interest? He says something about ERP in human resources management, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
Human resources management. Right. So I can assume that your interest is human resources management.
Yes.
Right. Or that is the approach. That is the method. That is the approach. In this place, then you still have to then narrow this down forward. How do you want to study human resources?
It'll take you a few hours to do,
which is your method now. What are you going to look for? Is there a particular method you want to use to do this? Would it be qualitative? Would it be quantitative? Would it be through genealogical etc.? Basically, your house should come out in the research question.
That's for next year.
Remember, we already have the problem, which is clear, ERP. And we also need to establish clearly what the intervention is. Comparison is important, but that is only when you do comparative studies. So assuming you are studying ERP in comparison with something else, I can't remember what I can use, the kind of alternative I can use, but it doesn't appear to be a comparative study, so that may not be entirely appropriate.
Is that okay?
Now, you are looking at the outcome as well. You have to look at the outcome. What do you envisage will come out?
Then I know
from this. It has to be
Siyabonga,
clear
Dlamini, and they
in your
numbers that
research
can
questions.
verify that.
And the
Then I need
context,
to
you're
know.
looking at higher education, that is your context. That
Yes.
has to also be
Okay,
clear.
with the group
I'm sure Dr.
members,
Musi also want to add
yeah,
one or
one
two
group members,
things to that.
You know what? I must agree with everything that Doc says, and I'm very happy because you see, this is your
I want y'all
baseline,
to work
Right.
together,
that
right?
you have to
I want y'all
identify
to work together,
what
right?
the problem is. You
Don't
have
worry,
to
I
go
promise
through
it's
and then
20%,
look
don't
at the
overdo it,
method,
right?
and very
Just that I
rightfully
have,
so, he said that you must justify
assessment,
using a
right?
prisma. Why a
So
prisma?
when you're
Mm.
submitting,
You know, because
going to
you're
submit-
You just
exploring, you
submit the
don't
link, the
know
link.
what are the
You
issues
just do
here.
the link.
And you can, and then you
Right.
need to
And I
streamline
must
that
see your
question
name
to
there.
the context,
Some of
like
my
you said,
students
higher
put their
education
photos as well.
institutions. What is happening with ARP?
Let me
What do
see
you
if
want
I
to
can find one
explore
later. I'll
within
find one of my
higher
students as well.
education institutions and
I did
ARP
this
systems?
every year.
You
I
know,
do this with my
you might
students.
help us with this
Let
now,
me
you know, in
see.
terms, because you're the expert in the area.
So now I'm learning
You're
too.
gonna tell us, like, you know, okay, ERP is
Govender,
higher education.
blog.
What are the challenges? Is it connectivity? Is it infrastructure? Is it funding?
Mhm.
So we
Oh, there,
hone it
there-
down to
there's my
exactly what,
student,
what we want to look at.
This
And
is
it's
what I
better
do. I'll
sometimes to
give
do
you
it
an
at a global
example, right?
scale.
Right.
That's my
Right.
curriculum.
So
I'm teaching them information technology 5B. That's the
no.
module. And the module descriptor says that I do ERP,
there's
and actually
I've done
I'm
this
narrowing
assignment
it down
before
to
with
human
my programming
resources. Like I
students.
said.
But beware about.
So
Right now,
Context.
they didn't mention where. They didn't mention where. But if I
There's my
could narrow
student
it down
there.
to South Africa, Busi is not on the call, but Busi works at DUT.
Right.
So maybe Busi will want
they
to
like to
investigate
put their pictures.
implementing SAP
Okay.
S4HANA ERP system.
There's my
S4HANA is
picture,
like
so they put
an
my
example of a thing, right?
Okay.
At
Right.
DUT. And she wants to take this
Hey,
further
that really
into
is
her
my number.
master's
Oh
study
my
next
goodness! I
year.
told them
Right?
to change.
For her to look at it at DUT,
Right.
you
Yes.
have to see what's happening
So
out
these
there.
are
Okay, okay.
engineering
The
students
point of
that
the
did this,
systematic review
right?
is you don't
There's
think
the
as
menu.
a PhD now where you or a master's
short
where you
story.
are
I
you're
taught
doing
them
a
C++.
study to find out on
Okay,
a
now with you guys,
certain you have your
I
research objective,
Right.
ethical
ERP,
questions basement.
SAP, S4HANA,
It's a broader
so I
sense.
expect
It's
y'all to do something
synthesizing
like
literature
that,
that's
right?
out there.
And it's a
Secondly,
fun
data that's
assignment. It's a
available
Okay.
fun
to
thing to
look
do.
at your research question.
Right?
Okay.
It's lovely.
That's why you look at it at a broader
so
level, you know.
they took
Okay.
just
The question might be
loops
broad.
as
That's
an
why
example.
Doc mentioned
Why
what
do
is
you
the
wanna
problem
use
is,
What is the
that you
problem?
want to
Now
look
I
at.
can share
Okay,
this with my
so
students.
if I could
which did.
contextualize it for my students, the
You can
problem
learn
is,
about it.
number one, I want them to learn about the latest developments in ERP.
And they did
Now
it
they're
in
talking about
WordPress.
SAP S4HANA. And I was reading up
I
the
don't know what
literature,
I
they were
think the
talking
student would
about
have
using
graduated that
generative
from years ago.
AI in SAP. And that's something a couple of years ago, they weren't talking about it, SAP analytics.
So
So I'm
I'll
not sure
put
if
this
we
as
could
an
add that to the
example
problem, Dr.
of my
Kule,
students'
or
work.
are we making it too complex for my students like Letu and Busi and Sydney? But if you don't mind,
Yeah, this was my-
Letu is
it's not
dealing
as
with
impressive
sharing
as
his
yours, but it
article
was
that
the
he
start.
found, and he's going to
Right.
explain, Dr. Kunle.
Yes.
Give him a break, Dr. Kunle. He's a new student to research, and I want him to get master's study in 2025. So Letu, share your screen with us, and I got Dr. Kunle here, and I
You
got
will
Dr.
love
Musin,
it. You'll
who's
enjoy
going
it.
to
I can tell
help you along
right?
to maybe get more articles.
You would like it.
Dr.
You would
Kunle,
like it.
Dr. Musin, this is
And
the
also you
article.
get to meet you
Mm.
I say, yeah, it's fun.
Letu, talk to us.
2015 I did
screen?
this. 2015 was
Dr.
my
Kunle,
second
Kunle, can
year
you see the screen?
graduated,
Yes, I can.
right?
Okay.
Okay, so this article is
2015.
about the
9
role
years
of ERP
ago.
systems
I don't know what
in
he's up to
improving
now.
human resource management processes. I went through this article. Just read the abstract. Say the study investigates the role of ERP in improving human resource management
I can't
processes.
even remember him. There's
The rapid environment
Hey, let me-
changes
let me-
led
let
to
me call
increased
you.
demand on the ERP system, which have changed the manual effort to technology-based processes, providing
061
solutions focusing on the
61
integration of all departments to achieve
22
goals for the
667.
entire organization. The HRM processes are mainly made up of
Right.
two classes: strategic and operational
Three.
HRM. An ERP system works to integrate both of them, making HR processes more efficient, effective, and feasible to provide support to the organization as a whole, both inside and out.
Oh, another student.
So this is what this article is about.
So tell Dr. Kunle, tell
He's
Dr.
still got the same
Musin,
number. Where did you find this article? Starting, how did you find it?
I found it on, I don't remember, because I went, like, there were many of them, so I don't remember whether it was DUT on the library or it was Google Scholar.
Okay.
Yeah, 'cause
They put my number
there
there.
were a lot of them, but I chose,
You chose this.
Double
Yeah.
nine,
Okay. And what
zero
attracted you to this article? Letu?
this abstract.
This
I
abstract.
just went through the abstract and fell in love with it.
MP.
Okay. So Dr. Kuhn, Dr. Musin, is that a good strategy that Letu said? He looked at the abstract and he went to the library website and he went to Google Scholar. Dr. Kuhn,
I think Leto has tried very well to try to screen or try to look for the eligibility or try to establish the eligibility rather of these article.
Hello?
As you can see, the keywords are present.
Okay, right. Both of them are not
ERP
answering
is
the call.
present.
But
Yes.
Human
you
resources
see what I want.
management is present.
Okay,
Yes.
yeah.
Is on the
You see what
first
I want,
scale of the screen.
You did a
that
business model,
your
but I want you to do
keywords
something
are
on
present
ERP
in
SAP.
these articles. So
And-
I
and
think he
use
has
our
done well.
examples of,
to-
Oh, thank you. Let's give him a cap.
to
of-
Give Letu a
of what
cap.
you did here.
Yeah.
Basics of analytics.
to establish the
It's
eligibility.
Thank you,
open-ended.
Dr. Kunle.
It's
Right.
creativity.
So we want to
and it's only
boost his
20%
confidence
here,
because
but
he
pass
works,
mark.
you work very
And I
hard.
promise
Oh,
I'll
and
give
also
you
my
good
other
marks.
students as well work hard.
That one.
Okay, don't get
Right.
just to share you. All my
You
students.
must remember,
I looked at
the other
articles and I
reason,
looked
the
at
reason
tests,
behind
right?
me
By the way,
giving you
Dr.
good
Kunle,
marks
some of
is
them didn't
for
give me
you
the
to do your
articles as
masters,
well,
you need
and
to
they're
have
gonna
like
lose
above
marks.
65% average.
No marks.
Right.
No, I
Oh.
didn't get the articles, right?
Average.
Okay.
So basically,
Okay, so
all
Dr.
three of
Kunle,
them are-
so
for
Letu
all
has
these
done
are
this.
good.
Now, if he wants to expand on this,
Right,
Dr.
so you need
Kunle
to
and
have
Dr. Musin,
65 and above. for all-
what's your
all
advice to
exams.
Letu, sir?
No, 65.
Because he's only got one article. And you said we need 1,000 articles. I
heard
don't think he's going to
60,
get 1,000
you said
articles
60.
by the end of the year.
In our department, it's
How can he get
65,
more
maybe in
articles,
your
Dr.
side,
Musin, Dr. Kunle?
I
All
see they
right,
get 20 people, 20, 30
let me go
people
first.
applying.
So,
to-
Leto, what you need to do is to basically look for more studies. Now, we said
So I'll
1,000,
share this link
18,000.
with y'all.
It doesn't,
See,
it's not a rule of thumb that, oh, it has to be 1,000.
so
What
in
we are
terms
saying
of
is
what I
that
did,
when you search using these
with you
keywords,
guys,
it is likely to
so this is
return,
the
you're likely to see
copy.
1,000
Let's
articles
close
or
this.
18 articles on your computer, because these databases will generate articles for you that have been published
this
in
is our
Europe,
fun assessment.
America, Australia,
something in it as
Africa. So your next stage is to then delimit these articles.
Hey, there's
to
Sabani said I
what-
can share it. Hey,
after screening
Doc,
them
you
to
can
what
share it,
you will
it's
find
okay.
useful. For your
Right.
level of research, I don't expect you to
so
go
talk to my former
and use
student.
1,000
There's my
works.
reference.
Especially within the short frame of time you have.
And
So,
let me tell you, Tabani, we
what
worked
is
so
also
much.
important
I used to
is
make, I
that,
never saw him.
how
Up to
to,
now,
how
I've
to
never
delimit
met
your
him.
articles is
I've never met
you
him.
have to
Only
be
there
sure
to
that you have a
work
search
over
criteria.
Email,
Your search
or
criteria
WhatsApp
might also
calls,
have to do with date, which
MS
is
Teams,
basically
Zoom.
search limit. So
He
you might
didn't
want to
have
only
a
retrieve
graduation,
articles from
right?
from
I started with-
2019 to 2024.
But
So by
but
the time
there's
you
my
search
reference
ERP and
about
HR,
if he can do it,
human resources
I don't
management,
see
it
why
might
you
have
can't.
returned
Oh, I'm gonna tell
18,000.
you
By
about
the
this
time you
Tabani.
limit your
What
search to
he got
2019
his- he
to
was Oxford Libraries.
2024,
He
it
got
might
a
reduce
job
that
after that.
basically to maybe
And,
5,000, for
He's
instance,
now
or
part-time.
3,000.
He's
Now
working
you've
from
narrowed
home.
it down.
He
Now
went for another
you can
interview
go further in
based on
your
his master's
search
study
criteria
because he's
to
in
say maybe
library
you are
sciences
looking for
at UKZN.
articles that have been published in Africa,
So we're
for
waiting to
instance.
see what happens.
If you
there.
look for articles that have been
But Cindy's
published in
only
this
way
area
in
in
is
Africa,
by,
you try to include Africa
continuing studies.
in your keyword and you try to screen these articles.
Right.
The ones that have
So I
been
hope I
done maybe
motivated
in
you
Europe
enough.
or
And more
this is only an
importantly,
example,
what
by
I
the
want
way.
for
I
you
mean,
on this website,
that is how to basically
when you do
get your
your
search limit. The
CV,
ones that have been done in Europe
it'll be nice
and
to see that
America
you
might
make up
fall
your
out of
own,
the study. Now
website
you have
like
only
this.
500 left.
And
From
you
the 500,
post
you are
your
trying to screen
CV,
whether they are good for your
not all
study,
your
and then you are
TCS,
trying to
now
write
your
your review
short resume.
based on that.
So they are able to access it. And
Thank
say,
you,
oh, this
Dr.
is what-
Kunle. I
you
like
are.
what you mentioned there, and I like the fact you
You
spoke
become
about
marketable.
the years. So Dr. Kunle, I'm going to
Cool.
take an executive decision as the lecturer
Right?
in the class,
So
and
we've
I'm going to
got-
say
in terms
that
of
I
our
want the last,
timeline,
5.
I'm going to set your exam this weekend.
I
I've
want
got
the last
5th of
5 years.
October.
Is that okay?
So 5th of
to say, Dr.
October,
Kunle?
Absolutely.
We will end lectures.
So and
end
I'm
of
going to also take
October,
an executive
right?
decision to
So
say
we've got like
that I
2
only
things.
want things from Africa. Is that
So
also
next
okay,
week we
Dr.
can
Kunle?
work on submitting the
Well,
assessment.
ideally,
I'll
it should be
definitely give
okay,
you
but
give you your marks
I
by
mean,
next week.
it also would depend very
God
much
willingly,
on whether
MCQ
there is
comes
enough
and
studies
I'll
in Africa
add that
for
onto your
these
section B.
systematic review.
Oh, I can
So
only have maximum
if
of
you cannot find
30%
enough studies, then you
MCQs,
may
so I
also have
can't
to
do a lot of
expand
MCQs for
the
the
search
exam.
criteria for your
And
data
I can only have
extraction.
max, no, true and false.
Okay,
Let's see if I can
okay,
clean
so
that up.
just because
so,
Letu is
30%
starting up,
would
this
be
is his
MCQs
first time in
and
doing
70%
a
would be,
systematic review. And he hasn't
essay
published
type
anything, but I
paragraph
want him to be
questions.
published at the
Right.
end of this year.
70%.
So if it's
Essay-
okay with,
I can't do that. They
number
came
one,
up with
I
a
said
new
5
rule
years,
at a meeting that we
and I'm going to
held.
say
Because
two,
some
we're
lectures were
gonna
overdoing it.
confine
the
it
whole
to
paper
Africa,
was
Dr.
MCQ.
Mustin.
Right.
And
So,
by confining it to Africa, if
they
we find
don't
that we are unable to get enough articles,
right. They don't
we
want that.
going to expand it maybe to Europe. Because SAP is
30%,
Europe,
yeah.
Germany, basically.
No.
And
they don't
also,
want
Dr.
They
Kunle,
don't want
because
that.
they are starting off, and we actually
No,
collected
no
60 articles.
certificates.
If I could,
Because I don't know whether the life
show off, my students have done that. I've got 60 articles. I've got about 10 in the Dropbox
Okay.
folder, Dr. Kunle,
And
Dr.
I
Mustin.
promise you,
So,
I'll make sure you'll get
what-
about, if you're
What's
telling
the
me you're getting a
minimum that I
master's,
can
you're
use or
getting
tell the
a
students, Dr.
master's.
Kunle?
You
Uh,
make sure that your mark is above
Bearing in
65,
mind, these are not
right?
master's students, these are
Fine.
postgraduate students.
People not doing
journey
a
to
master's, then I'm
masters.
not going to
I
worry
want
about them,
to
right?
make sure that I get 63 people registering for masters
You
next
didn't
year,
even
Dr.
hear what I
Mohsin.
said.
I don't know how we're going to do it. We're going to find the supervisors.
All right.
Dr.
Can we
Kunle, what's
call
the
it,
minimum
a
number,
day?
Dr. Kunle?
Any other questions, queries?
That is a very
Right, so you
difficult
know what
question
the
to
last question
answer.
outstanding is the
Yeah.
WordPress example.
and Doc, you're absolutely right to say
Schematic design.
that
I want you to
cannot-
work on
you
that
cannot
if you are doing a proposal
pin
for
it
next
down
year.
to how many
Right,
articles are
Fazil?
acceptable.
Let you still
That
promise me
decision is made
300
from you
articles.
interrogating the literature.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm
there's
gonna
no
try
other
and
way.
get
You
Dr.
have to
Bender
interrogate the literature.
next week.
So if we say
because he
100,
is a
Dr.
researcher
Kunle,
that publishes.
we can't.
We can't
And
say.
if any of you
It
are
could be
interested
18
in that,
final
we can
steps,
join a
right?
group
It
and
could
do
be
it. Right?
40 final
Or
steps.
Dr. Mohsin or Dr.
But
Kunle.
your decisions are based on those processes there.
Right.
The screening process, identification,
So we
your
almost
eligibility.
on the last
You
lap.
maybe say you're going
We've
to
got
take,
how
not
many-
going to
how
take
many
ebooks,
weeks
you're not
left,
going to take
how
book
many
chapters,
Saturdays left?
editorials, all of
You know,
those.
we said
We've
journal
got 3
articles.
Saturdays, right?
So, you know,
So let's look at
and
it
so you're
like
going to
this. Next
refine
week,
as you go
Saturday,
along, and then you
we
position
sort of
yourself in
test
terms, you're going to
two, whatever it
exclude
is.
studies from Europe. You're only going to bring them in if
outstanding,
there's
marks
a
or
limitation in.
Right.
somebody
So,
needs to do,
you know, all of those
make an
criteria play a
assessment
part in your final
in
steps.
terms
Okay.
of that.
So we can't say it's
Then
going to
the
be 60 or it's
following
going to be
week
30.
is-
We're going to have to
what's the following
justify
week?
your position.
My calendar.
So can we leave it open-ended, Dr. Kunle?
I think so.
So
Okay, right, Letu? We're going to leave it open-ended, and trust me,
So in
I know, if
October-
I give my students open-ended,
So the
Letu's
5th
going
of
to give me
October is
1,000
okay.
articles.
12th,
Letu,
we'll
what
stop
you
at
say,
the
Letu?
19th, right?
Oh, listen to
19th
this.
and the
I'm
26th
recording
are
it.
used
Letu's
for-
going to give me 1,000 articles. Dr. Kunle, you got this. Letu's going to give me 1,000 articles.
And what's important, Doc, is the research question.
And
Okay,
you're
Because,
right on the 12th.
You know, you can look
Right,
at
the
ERP
12th
systems
is-
right.
in
Maybe we'll see each
banking
other on the
systems in
2nd.
South
There
Africa.
will be some students
So
coming.
that's
"Sir, I need some
specific.
da, da, da,
So
da,
although
da, da,
ERP systems exist in
So,
higher education
on the
as
2nd of October will
HRM
be our
practice,
final date.
or
Last
they
day
may
of
exist
study.
in any
You
other
sort out
private
your
company, as an example,
DP,
maybe
right.
Toyota
You need
or
a
some
minimum of
automobile
40%.
industry, whatever it could be. But your question is pertaining
I need to sort that out
specifically to
before.
banking systems.
Okay.
So when
But
you
all my students
exclude,
get
although there'll be
access.
articles on that, from
I
that
know we
1,000,
have
you
it.
might only look at, you're going to only look at, because you want to answer
That's my
your
mind.
research question.
Okay. So if I
You
could
will
jump
have
on
access
and
to the
follow up
exams.
from what
you do in
Dr.
the
Mohsin
exam is up to
mentioned.
you.
In fact, Busi works
But I
at
get you, I take you to the
DUT,
exam.
right?
Okay.
He's in the finance and debtors. And Dr. Kunle, I want to kind
I'm
of
so happy that you're-
narrow
I like
it down
mature
to
students.
higher
My first
education
years this week, they were
institutions.
complaining,
And
"Sir,
I want to
you know me, I
in a
send
way,
WhatsApp messages all the time. You didn't
investigate
give us a
what
break,
had
you
transpired at
busy.
DUT.
You're doing so much of
Because we
work.
are implementing a
Can't handle- I'm
ERP
teaching them
system.
artificial
Dr. Kunle,
intelligence,
I'm
machine
sure
learning.
you're aware of it, Dr. Yusin as well.
I'm
They are
enjoying it, so
implementing a
I
SAP
did the
S/4HANA.
course.
And we've had some
But whatever
challenges
I learned, I was
in
passing on to
meeting the
them.
deadlines,
And I did
and
a
I'm
PowerPoint
sure you
course.
noticed they
You know,
extended
I
this.
sat
See
down
what
in
he
this
can
one.
do
I
as
knew
an example
everything
is,
about
yes,
that.
you do a broad
I learned,
study
I
in
learned
terms
that
of
Chile, how to
HIEs
change the
in
bullet
higher
trains
institutions in South
before,
Africa.
Right.
And you don't say
but
DUT,
the
but you to give broad strokes as to what the challenges have been for
Right.
this new system. And then next year when he's doing his master's, then he's much more, his study is much more focused in that he's now particularly on DUT.
Okay.
It be a qualitative study, it could be whatever he decides to do,
Hold them
and
by
then
the
you
hand,
answer. But
call
there's a
them,
build-up. That
sit
systematic
next to the
review that he
test
does
paper,
now
Right.
through it, help
lends
them.
or
So
ends
they
up being
complain
a
to us, "Sir,
study
but you're not doing
specifically
the
on
same. What you
DUT.
did first
Perfect.
semester, you
You
were
see, how does that sound,
so
Dr.
much
Kunle?
without-"
From what
I said, "That was
Dr.
teaching.
Mohsin has
Now
mentioned,
I'm trying
that,
to make you mature enough
well,
to
I'd like to
lecture.
talk
I
about
give you a
DUT and
section.
what's
This is
going
what
on.
you
Do it
must
at
do.
master's.
No,
We'll do it
no,
at
no,
master's
you must-
level.
can't
But
do
for
that.
now, I'd be so
Not,
happy
giving us
if
chapters.
my students will get
They want to
into
be
it.
spoon
So we've
fed
got
like what
5
happened
minutes
at
left after
high
this
school.
lecture. Dr. Kunle,
We
I know
not high
I've
school anymore.
extended the time.
Masters, like I said,
Minutes,
Tabani.
but this is how
I never
lecturing
saw
works
him.
and this is how it goes. And I told Dr.
I never
Kunle
saw
that,
him.
you know what, we can
At least,
start
yeah,
off in
see
one
ya.
direction,
Thank
go
you
off in
very much,
another.
man.
Dr. Mohsin will know about this as well. So I want to
So we've got
round
2
up
more
this
Saturdays.
talk, and I want to ask the
Next
students.
week with
Letu
us,
has spoken.
seen
Is there
you.
anybody else, students
I
online?
promise you,
You want to
all
ask? You got
Marks,
5 minutes here.
if the MCQ is not in, I'll
Go ahead.
I'll WhatsApp it, email it or whatever. If there's a problem below 50, below 60, you work it out. And I'll use the third assessment.
Hello, Doc.
To guide the marks to make sure there is a problem.
Hi.
Oh, hi.
Yes, I posted a question on the chat.
Oh, no, sorry. What happened there? Dr. Kunle, can you see the question? Oh, yeah, switch on the YouTube. Oh, that's why. Right. See, they weren't paying attention. Only now they're talking, Sydney. Right. Okay. So, any questions? 20 to 10. Anybody question? You know what I expect of you, right? Systematic review is for people that are interested in masters next year, proposal writing. They won't be, I know, 63 people. I'm aiming for the sky. The 63 of you won't register next year, I know, right? But for the 5, 6, 7, 10, whoever does it, I'll be happy, right? And then you can. But this WordPress, I'd love it. The SIA already benefited from it, right? But he did it as a business. I want him to make me do another free one with our students and like how they did it on C++. But you take a section from our course, right? And the course I gave you the procure to pay, human capital resources, accounting concepts, and you make up one website. ERP, yes, that's our course. ERP. I guarantee you, it won't take you. It'll take you about 4 or 5 hours to work on it, right? And I also want the diligent software. Any of you have outstanding diligent software certifications or something you want to share with me? One student gave me 14 certificates. 14. Right? I know some of you are true. And some of you don't, and they don't want to do anything. I'm not looking in general. The point is, did I? Yeah, some of you are children, some of you don't. You don't. Oh, he said he doesn't have children. No, that's right. Right, and he's doesn't want to do masters next year. Okay, we'll talk a couple of weeks time. Really? And it's almost at the end. Okay, we'll see how it goes, right? So there we go. He's not even going to look at systematic review. He's never even going to worry about that, right? Because he's not. Right. So Sydney, you know what to do for IT now. And we've done lots of IT work. We've done the applying filters, the ECL, you've downloaded stuff, you've done logins to SAP S4HANA. I feel confident that I can sleep okay. Judgment Day, God said, did you earn your salary for IT5? I'll say, yes, I did. This is what I did with you. Right. And I hope when you get to do postgrad studies like Tabani, you will get a job, a higher paying or more, whatever. I got Knox as well. If you want, I can talk to Knox. I can get her. She's lecturing over here. She graduated in April, and we needed a lecturer. I said, yeah, I got a student, master student, graduate, diddle-diddle-da. Part-time lecturing student over here. But never heard from her again. I don't know. I don't even know how and what it is. Once you're past, you're graduate, won't bother. Even see her to next year. You'll see me in on course. You won't come greet me. That's how it goes with students. That's how I've been in 29 years. I'm in education. That's how it is. Huh? Any questions, queries? So hopefully I sort the marks out. If you have no queries, you don't have to come next week. The following week, I'll collect your links. Just send me the link, right? I'll do a spreadsheet and your 5 students' names and put your name somewhere on the website, right? So that if someone sees and I have to query, no, the students did it. This is what it is, right? Okay, and work as a team, learn. Online people, anybody with a question from there? I don't know how Bongani is going to do it, but let's see. Anybody with a query question? Any question in the chat, Sydney? The marks, yeah. I apologize, right? I apologize for that. And as soon as they tell me on Monday, I will upload it, right? As soon as I can. It is, yes, yes. And I'm also to blame. I have other things to do. I do so much of admin work, Sydney. It's unbelievable. Yeah. Right. Plus, I'm supervising students and I also got children. Two dogs, wife. Oh, let's stop the recording. I should have stopped this some time ago. Later, you didn't tell me. Right. Can we call it a day? Call it a day?